It's been a very interesting week as the NGX All-Share Index crossed the 100,000 mark for the very first time in history. Profitable time for shareholders away from the concerns of inflation and the foreign exchange market. The rates have continued to tell in diverse ways on Nigerians and Nigeria as a country. So in this episode of the program, we will be looking at the foreign exchange market from the eyes of a market operator. My name is Leah Katung-Babatunde, welcoming you to the show. Don't forget we have our complimentary segments, Simplified and Market. Stay tuned. Let's start the business of the day with a look at the trends table.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Leah Katung-Babatunde, has aligned with the new operational structure being established at the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS), saying it will boost the nation's revenue drive and income. Mr. Katung, who was speaking at the Strategic Management Retreat of the FIRS in Abuja, said government aims to improve tax to GDP ratio to 18% in the coming years with the tax policy and fiscal policy and tax reform committee's commitments along with the FIRS.
Taxpayers, the general public, what they want to see is that their money is faithfully collected as it should be and properly spent and accounted for with minimal excess, waste and leakage. They deserve it and I believe we will give it to them.
On his part, Chairman of the FIRS, Zach Adedeji, said the reform will eliminate confusion and redundancy in tax administration in Nigeria.
Extensive reorientation and change initiatives will be implemented to ensure that no one is left behind. We recognize the need for meticulous planning, effective communication, and unwavering commitment to navigate this transformative journey successfully.
The Nigerian Economic Summit Group (NESG) says the policy stance of the government signals an opportunity for Nigeria to address its myriad of socio-economic challenges, optimize economic potential, and deliver favorable outcomes for its citizens. It projected real GDP growth to rise rapidly to 3.5% in 2024. NESG, in its macroeconomic outlook for 2024, underscored the importance of government pursuing an economic transformation agenda to propel sustained high economic growth. The report presents a roadmap with step-by-step and phased approaches to reforming the economy to achieve economic transformation over the short to medium term. It gave policy recommendations to include monetary stability, effective fiscal management, and regulatory environment reforms for fair market competition, among others. For Oluyemi Cardoso, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, upholding the integrity of financial markets is crucial for building confidence. He said the bank is prioritizing transparency and creating a market environment that enables the fair determination of exchange rates, ensuring stability for businesses and individuals.
The identification of potential inflection points is crucial for strategic decision-making. This is also commendable, as I believe we are, as a nation, at the point of stabilization.
The Federation Accounts Allocation Committee (FAC) has shared a total sum of 1.127 trillion naira earned through the Federation accounts in December 2023 to the federal government, states and local government councils from the 1.674 trillion naira total revenue generated. This information was contained in a communique issued by the committee at the end of its January 2024 meeting, which was chaired by the Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Oluwatoyin Madeyin. A look at the sources of revenue showed that in the month of December 2023, companies' income tax (CIT), excise duty, petroleum profit tax (PPT), value added tax (VAT), and electronic money transfer levy (EMTL) increased significantly, while oil and gas royalties decreased substantially. Import duty and CET levies decreased marginally. Current balance in the excess crude account $473,754.57. The debt Management Office DMO, on behalf of the federal government, has offered for subscription 4 tranches of bond for January 2024 through auction. They include 90 billion naira FGN March 2027, 10 years reopening at 16.2884%. 90 billion naira FGN April 2029, 10 years reopening at 14.55%. 90 billion naira FGN June 2033, 10 years reopening at 14.7%, and 90 billion naira FGN June 2038, 15 years reopening at 15.45%. The DMO in a notice scheduled auction for January 29, 2024 and settlement January 31, 2024. Fitch credit rating agencies say the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) still lacks sufficient foreign exchange to clear the backlog of demand in the country. Director of Middle East and Africa Sovereigns at Fitch, Aminu in webinar, also warned that Nigeria's high interest payment to revenue ratio is a key weakness on its sovereign credit rating. She said the forex shortages in the country would keep pressure on the Naira, with the wide gap between the official and parallel rates. The central bank has been under immense pressure to meet demands, with foreign airlines still expecting about $5 billion in backlogs after the CBN cleared around $2 billion.
The central bank governor, Leah Katung-Babatunde, says the Naira is undervalued. But who or what is undervaluing the Naira? I sat with the president of the Association of Bureaux de Change Operators, Aminu Gwadabe, and here's that conversation. Aminu Gwadabe is the President, Association of Bureaux de Change Operators of Nigeria, Abcon, and together we shall be chatting these cause of Nigeria's foreign exchange market crisis. And I would like to welcome you to this very beautiful conversation, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning and good morning, Nigerians.
Really, how did we get to this point, these historic high levels as we've never seen before in the exchange market?
We're in a period of currency crisis. A currency crisis is defined when there is a standard deviation from the mean. What I mean, how a currency is going further from its average exchange rate. So if you look at it, you find out, let's say in 2016, the rate was about 250, and now in 2024, we're talking about 1,400. So you can see how the Naira has deviated. You know, it can be described as low or high volatility. So in our own case, I think the volatility is very, very high. That's when you see the amount of local currency you have last year cannot purchase the same USD for you. So you will be losing. Let's take example, $10,000 last year is about 6-7 million. And now we are talking about almost 14 million. So it has deviated from like 100%. So this is a very, very high volatility. There are many causes. We have seen currency crisis in other countries. Is it in Weimar Republic due to hyperinflation? We have also seen it in Mexico due to economic depression. We have seen it in Venezuela, Turkey, recently, no long around 2014, 2016. Even Russia suffered currency crisis around 1998. So that is the global phenomenon. If you come to the local environment, there are many factors. There are historical factors. We all know that Nigeria is an import-dependent economy. We also know that we're a monocultural economy. Our export base is also low, plus that we have been carrying a continuous balance of payment deficit. If you talk of infrastructure, because economies that have stronger currency, they have infrastructure. I think we have almost a huge gap, deficit gap of infrastructure. Anytime, because we heavily rely on the petrodollars, the income from petrodollars. Anytime there is crisis in prices of dollars, Nigeria will sneeze. And once it affects our revenue, what that means is shortage of liquidity. Currency crisis is like a run of water. It's an erosion. So, and if not directed, it will direct itself. So that is the situation. All these factors are coupled to put us where we are, both the historical and current perspective. Over time, from 1986, when we have these imbalances, we have variations, depreciation in the economy. Some governments have put measures. Some of these measures, we all know the popular structural adjustment program, then in 1986, SAP. So you see, it's just to ensure, because we have started seeing a wider gap between the official and the parallel market. So in 1986, there is this introduction of structural adjustment program to check those imbalances, to liberalize the economy. Foreign exchange in Nigeria is like the oxygen of the country. So anytime we have shortage in our oxygen, you can understand what I mean. The next thing, if care is not taken, is to go to ICU, intensive care unit. We pray we will not get that to that level.
People would say that market operators like you are responsible in a way for the exchange rate crisis we are facing. Is that so?
We have to understand what it is. Volatility, people are behind volatility. Investors are behind volatility. Regulators are behind volatility. So it's not for you to vent anger just on one sector. We depend on direct inflow, foreign direct inflow, either portfolio or direct foreign investment. So when your investors perceive, it's about perception, that your currency is going to, be weaker. The next thing he exits your own economy, he exits your environment. And what that means is that he's going with his investment. Some of these funds are called hot money. Once your economy, local economy is suffering, is crying, foreign investor is looking for another destination. So he will move his own money. That have affected or caused the volatility we are seeing today, because we have like about $100 billion that existed in the economy, and still some companies are also moving out of Nigeria as a result of so many challenges, which include the security and then the shortage liquidity in the system. I read Cadbury where they are going to sell additional shares of about 7 million just to ensure that they pay off their foreign debt. So backlog alone, we have always been talking of backlog. Just recently, support from the Afri-Exim Bank of about $2.2 billion. I think the whole of that chunk is agreed to be used for the payment of backlog. Not long ago, the central bank have also announced that pay backlog of about $61 million. So these are only backlog. You did not consider the needs of other manufacturers, students, school fees, medical fees. As we speak now, students abroad, they are just surviving on their own. Many of them cannot continue to go to school because parents were not able to source these dollars to pay for their school fees. So many cannot travel, many cannot pay for their school fees, businesses is shut down. So that is one aspect. You also have to look at the second aspect. It has never been like this, like you said. Yeah. This is really disturbing and worrisome. So over recent policies, all this while it was happening, the thinking was we are also part of the cloudies that call for a unification of the exchange rate, because there are a lot of, shenanigans around the existence of this official and unofficial market. There's lack of transparency, there is lack of liquidity, there is rent seeking, name it. So putting a unified economy is supposed to remove all imperfections. It's a market-driven, mechanism. For you to liberalize, for you to make it willing buyer and willing seller, you must be able to have some buffers. That is the reason why many countries adopt the unification or the liberalization or the concept of willing buyer and willing seller. However, in our own case, we're lacking in those buffers to support the idea, even though government is trying a lot to see that they encourage investors to come in, and they're also doing some local measures in terms of encouraging people. There is a lot of money. You see, loss of confidence. In fact, public loss of confidence. The public have lost confidence in their own local currency, and that is the worst that can happen if the citizens have no confidence in their own local currency.
So what kind of conversation are you having with policymakers, the Central Bank of Nigeria, for instance, and the fiscal side? What kind of conversations are you having with them?
Engagement has been going. Remember that since 2001, our window has been suspended by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and it came with its own unintended consequences. Over time, the Bureaux de change have proved to be the most effective transmission mechanism of the Central Bank of Nigeria. In 2006, that was the beginning when the then management of the Central Bank did their research and come up with the third level unit of the market. Over time, when it comes to foreign exchange, there are only major two players, the Central Bank and the commercial banks. So out of his wisdom, then the governor of Central Bank, now the present governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Solido, liberalized the foreign exchange market by making the Bureaux de change third level of the equation. So that in UK, if you look at it, they have removed the entire responsibility of invisible transaction, retail invisible transaction. In fact, in UK, even post office also play this role of paying some of these little bits. In India, through the diaspora remittances, the BDC were able to generate over $30 billion annually, which is being used in development of infrastructure. In China, in Philippines, and Nigeria is number 4 in terms of receipt of diaspora remittances in the world. What is really happening is not backed by any economic fundamentals. It's to do about hoarding due to lack of confidence. In 2006, 2019, 2009, 2017 to 2020, the BDC were the potent tools, monetary tools of the central bank when it comes to transmission mechanism. So we lost that role in 2021. Since then, we have been engaging the central bank, we have been writing proposals. Also, we had a meeting with the chairman Financial Economic Commission, whereby we discuss extensively on the involvement. Most of the time, because of our vulnerabilities, politicians, Yahoo boys and others tend to have opportunity in striking their own deals through us. So we're invited, we're exposed to these vulnerabilities, how politicians, when they take, right now the news all over is how politicians are diverting funds. And when those funds are being diverted, you sometimes see it passing through the Bureaux de change. So we're informed, and we should take measures so that we ensure that we help the economy. Last year, I think in December, we also meet with the chairman, House of Representatives on banking regulation. There are a lot of engagement going on, papers, strategy meetings that are taking place to ensure that we put our contribution, and we're hopeful because there are a lot of hanging fruits. There is what we call the $20 billion diaspora remittance. The World Bank statistics say last year. In fact, I'm happy even the chairman, Fiscal and Tax Review Committee have mentioned in the media that by the time they travel to US, they found that out of the $20 billion, only 10% of it was remitted to Nigeria. 90% was left abroad. We have to think outside the box and revisit some of these policies that I'm sure they are going to work. We quite understand and agree there is challenges of the government earning revenues.
So can monetary policy alone solve this problem? Some people say the solution lies solely with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Yeah, the CBN is in the first line of defense, being the apex bank, being the regulator, being the custodian of the foreign reserve of the country, and also being the overseer of every little dollar that come into this country. So they have the mandate, they have the act. But however, even when we have achieved some sanity in the past, like we have mentioned, it's not solely dependent on the central bank. Other players combine together to come together, the security agencies, the operators, put back the confidence into the economy. What we need is to put back the confidence into the economy. It's the decision that will give the banks the go-ahead, because they hold the key. So once they do that, there is this information. It's an information-driven market. That look, we're opening social window for this liquidity. We are going to really help. Also the security agencies. Remember we have thousands of porous borders, and there are a lot of trans-border, transaction, cross-border transaction. A lot of billions have been moved through these borders, either air or land. So this is where the security agencies come in, so that they can ensure that they close those weaknesses, And then other regulators too, operators like the Bureau de Change can come in. The government can leverage on them so that they can inject. Where the liquidity is pervasive is in the retail end of the sector. Somebody want to pay school fees, you cannot see it. Somebody want to buy part for a camera, for a TV, you cannot see it. You want to pay for a professional subscription, you cannot do it. So these are what the Bureau de Change are supposed to play.
So in conclusion, it is said that in Nigeria, anything that goes up does not come down. Are we seeing that scenario now, that as the Naira is skyrocketing, it's not going to come down?
Yes, I think I want to agree with that. But one thing that always...
so we should adjust our mind.
No, I'm not concluding. You see, I'm talking maybe of product. You see, we have seen it over product. But I think to some certain extent, the dollar the exchange rate market, because I remember in 2018, 19, the dollar have gone even up to 500. And people by then were even expecting 1,000. But by the time all these measures come in of improving liquidity into the market, it went down to about 350. And it stayed there from 2017 to 2020 due to availability until the outbreak of COVID-19. That's when the whole thing went haywire again. So we cannot lose hope. Nigeria, we run outside for our solution. Sometimes I laugh. We go to India to get aid to support our foreign exchange market. When Nigeria, in terms of resources, in terms of network, we are even richer than India. So what we are looking for in Sokoto, we have it here in our Sokoto. Okay. We can do it with a great partnership and also collaboration with different stakeholders in the economy.
I must sincerely thank you, Mr. Gwadabe, for always obliging me for these kinds of conversations.
Pleasure, you are always welcome.
It
is our problem, it's a Nigerian problem, so all of us have to put our hands together on the deck and we ensure that we reverse the situation.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure always.
My name is Aminu Gwadabe.
Keep watching the Policy with Leah.
It aims to provide policymakers an opportunity to explain their policies in a way that members of the public affected by those policies can understand and engage with those policies.
Keep watching the Policy with Leah.
It's learning time, and the word for today is talk. Let's simplify that for you, and from there we go to the market. For more on rates and markets across the country, do well to log on to our sister website, www.marketnigeriatv.com. We have all the information there and much more for you. Don't forget that you can always catch up with this episode and more on our YouTube channel, Saban Media Services. If you have not subscribed, do well to do that. We need your comments, your observations, and questions. Follow us as well on our various social media platforms. We'll return your way again same time, same channel next week. My name is Leah Katung-Babatunde, saying make smart and wise decisions in the coming weeks as 2024 settles in, and God bless Nigeria.